Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Education for Sustainable Development. In the series of Android development, today we are revising the whole Android course. So I am naming this the Android crash course, and that is a part 1 video. And this video is specifically for the student of BSc Computer Science Honors and the Physical Sciences. It is a SAC paper in Delhi University and it is of 25 marks. So first let's see the guidelines and then we will start the crash course. So friends, here is the guidelines for this course. As you see, the guidelines for the BSc Honors and BSc Computer Science, Physical Science Android paper. And first we have to do the introduction. Then we have a overview of object-oriented programming using Java. It covers the inheritance, packages and interfaces, and then development tools, user interface architecture, user interface design, and the books. There is the reference books, the Head First Android Development, Dawn Graphics and David Graphics, publisher O'Reilly. And the second reference book is Android Application Development for Java Programming by James C. Shui, publisher Canage Learning 2013. And for the Java part, we have a third reference, the complete reference Harvard Shield 5th edition. So in this video, I am covering mainly the Android part from the Head First Android Development book by Dawn Graphics and the David Graphics. And there are some other references, some links to the developer.android.com. So for filters, activities, screen sizes and the databases. So we will also see these things. So let's start, friend. So this is the book O'Reilly Head First Android Development, a brand-friendly guide by Dawn Graphics and the David Graphics. So I recommended this book as if you want to learn Android, then in that case you have to understand that book. But it is a crash course, so I am taking reference from that book, and accordingly I have try my best so that you can easily understand the Android for your examination point of view. So if you suppose have an exam and you want to cover all these things in just 2 hours, then you will see this video. So let's start, friend. So the first question comes into the mind is, what is Android? So the basic answer is, it is a operating system for mobile devices and the core part is Linux. It is designed for basically for the touch screen devices. So the Linux is optimized for the mobile screen, and these mobiles are the touch screen devices. Then let's see some history part. So it was developed by the Android Inc. and which the Google bought in 2005 and that unveiled the world in 2007. And the first commercial Android device was launched in September 2008, and the current version is the Android 10 that was released on the September 3, 2019. So the current release is Android 10, and initially it was a open source, and then it is bought by the Google. So now the Google is the owner of the Android. If you really would like to go into the details of the history, then you can go to that Wikipedia page for the Android operating system. Then comes what the version and the names. So as you know, the Android version, the oldest version is Android 1.5 with the name Android Cupcake. Then we have initially the releases are like 1.5, 1.6, 2.0, 2.2, 2.3. So the 2.3 the Gingerbird. You don't need to remember all these names. You just need to remember the latest version and the few versions before the latest version. So here the latest version is the Android 10 and its name is the Android 10. And the before that we have Android 9.0, that's the Android Pie. So if you look it closely, you can see that all these names uh, from the Android 9 to the previous versions of Android 1.5, you see the all these names are the names of the deserts, so you could remember these names very easily. So the Pi and the Android 8 is the Android Oreo, Oreo is a biscuit. So all these are the names of the deserts. Then we have languages. So there are two languages, Java and the Kotlin. So previously only the Java was supported, but now the Kotlin is also competing with the Java. So but for this course we are only covering the Java, because uh, in this course of Delhi University, Java is the primary language, and you have already learned the Java in one of the semester of your course. So let's understand what are the main components. So first component is user interface, and then we have a backend. So I have take that picture from the Google, that how the user interface looks like. So user interface means the way you see your mobile devices. So if you see here, so there are like different kinds of screen, different kinds of apps, and every app has a different UI. Suppose you have an address book, so address book have a different UI. And suppose you have a online order like Swiggy, Zomato, or you have a e-commerce website like Paytm or the Amazon, so they have the different kind of view. So we call that view is the user interface, where the user could interact with the application. We call the user interface. So the first part is user interface, and the second part is backend. So what is a backend? Backend means when you click a button or when you touch any part of the screen, and there could maybe the some action behind the scene. So that action would be written in the code, and we the place where this code is there we call that backend, or we could say that is a server. So in terms of client server, so the user interface is our client, and the mobile is our client, and there is a backend that was the servers were that are on the big computers. So I hope you understand the user interface. So we have to user interface, that is a XML file. So in case of Android, the user interface, we have to write the user interface, and that interface, user interface, are we call them the layouts, and that is right in the XML coding language. So XML is a language where we have to write the user interface, and the backend is either in Java and the Kotlin, and we need the other resources like images and the sound files. Why we need these images and the sound files? If you see, if we have only a very simple hello world Android app, so even in that case we have a icon of that app, so we have to click at that icon. So in that case we need at least one image, that is the icon of your application. Similarly, we need some sound files in case the app required the sound files. So these things like images, sound files, and the videos we call the resources. Then we have the configuration file. So every project have a configuration file, and we call that the Android manifest.xml file. So these kind of simple questions like 1 marks questions could be asked in your exam. What is Android manifest.xml file? What are the resources? Which language are used in the Android programming? And what is layout? And what is XML file? So let's see the one example of the XML file. So any XML file, so we have the heading tag is XML version and then encoding. Similarly, we have the closing tag with XML. So XML is also a way by which we can store the data. So here you can say we have the tags like address tag, and in under the address tag we have the house number, street, district, city, and country. So that is like a tree. So we have the one node is address, and another node is also address, and after the address we have house number and state. So that would be the branch, or any number of branch we have. So suppose we have street, and then in the street we have also some parameters here, so that we call the XML file. So for the layout we need this kind of this kind of XML file for our layouts. So what are the tools that we required? So first we need the Android Studio. So I am skipping that part because the installation of the Android Studio is for the practical purpose, and I am creating that video only for the purpose of exam point of view, so that the student could easily crack the exam within 2 hours. Then we need the SDK. So I will cover what is SDK. SDK is a software development kit, and then we need the minimum at least 4 GB of RAM for the system if you want to run the Android Studio on your system, but the 8 GB would be required, would be a better option. So I am also skipping that part. Then create a first project. So how we can create our first project? So what we need a layout. We call this the user interface or the layout. That would be written in the XML file. Then we have a activity file. So activity is basically a backend file, or we could say we write the activity in a Java language. So activity is a Java class, and every layout or every layout has a activity. It means every XML file of layout need a Java activity file. Then we need the string.xml file. So string.xml file is a file by which we can create our string global variables or the string global arrays. It means it store the key value pair of the string or the string arrays. So we need, whenever we have some kind of label or whenever we have some kind of global variable and we want that variable to be accessed everywhere inside the application, so it's better to declare in the string.xml so that it could be accessible everywhere. And then we have Android manifest.xml file. So that is a configuration file, and it is required for we have the activities. So we have to define all the Android application could be the simplest Android application could only have the one activity, but as we move towards the complex applications, the activity would be more than one. So in that case, or in case of only the single activity, we have to define all the activities in the Android manifest.xml file. We need to define what version of the Android for which we have creating our application, or we have to define what is the software development kit. And so Android manifest.xml file is a configuration file, and then we have r.java file. So I will cover the r.java in detail later, but you can understand that it is a file where we have like in the layout we have some components and we need the global identifier for these files. So I will cover all these things in detail. So let's first open the head first file and let's see how we can so here we have the first chapter. So we could see, so here you can see this is a layout like a list of friends, and then when we click on any one of the friend, then it will display a description of that friend. So that is an example of the layout. That is the architecture. I will cover this. So the first app is creating a hello world example. So how we can create this? So when you open the Android Studio, the picture, the Android Studio would be look like this. So you have to first start a new project. So you have to click on the start a new project. Then you have to enter the application name, the company domain. Company domain is similar to the package, and then what is the location of your project. Then you have to move to the next. Then you have to select for which purpose you are creating the app, for phone and tablet or TV or VR or the glass. So I am assuming we are creating for the phone and tablet, and what kind of minimum SDK we need. It means which version, for which version you are targeting your application. So I am targeting the API level 15 here, and that is the Android 4.0.3, and its name is ice cream sandwich. Then you have to click the next button. Then you have to select, as I have mentioned you, that you have a user interface, that is XML file, and you have the activity file. So you have to select the activity. So here are the other options, like you didn't want any activity initially in the project, or you want some blank activity with fragmentation, or you want full screen activity. So there are different kind of activities like map activity. So I am selecting here the blank activity for the first project. Then you have to define the name of that activity. So I am keeping as it is simple, and that is the default name, main activity. So we have activity name is main activity.java, and the layout name is activity underscore main, and the title is main activity, and the menu resource name is menu underscore main. So you don't need to change anything for the first time. We are just creating a simple project. Then we have to click the finish. So when you click the finish, you will see this layout. On the left hand side we have the project explorer tab, and then we have this palette in which we have the see all the layouts and the widgets that we have, and then we have that design view, that we could also drag and drop all these widgets or the layouts on that mobile screen. So you could see here we have the frame layouts like frame layout, linear layout, horizontal layout, and the table and the grid layout, relative layout. So out of these we have to cover the grid layout, relative layout, and the linear layout. That is a part that is in our course. And similarly we have widgets, like we could create a text box, we could use the button, we could have the radio button, checkbox, switch, toggle button, image button, and the spinner. So these are the widgets that we have to cover in this crash course. So that is the project explorer. So what are the folders that we have? So that is important for the exam point of view, because we have to understand that the Java activity file is under the source, main, and Java, and then we have package name. Similarly we have all the resources, like our layout, that is activity underscore main.xml, is under the res folder. Res means resource folder. Similarly we have other values, like in under the values we have string.xml file. Similarly we have android manifest.xml file. And initially you don't need to understand all these things, Gradle properties or Gradle. Gradle is a tool that is used for the building purpose, so you don't need to understand this for this crash course. So that is the same things that I have already explained, that we have activity, main activity, we have XML file, we have r.java file. So what is r.java file? So suppose we have to add a button in application, so that's fine. And suppose we have to add the 10 buttons. So in that case, how we can distinguish among all these 10 buttons? So there is only one way by which we can distinguish among all these 10 buttons, by using some identifiers, so that we call the ID. So it means all the IDs would be stored somewhere. So that is stored in the r.java file. So r.java file is basically is a file where all the identifiers would be stored, and we can access these identifier anywhere inside the application. So it is a mechanism by which we can just access any widget or any layout from anywhere. So these are most important questions. What is activity file? What is r.java? What is activity XML file? What is string.xml file? What is android manifest.xml files? So all these are the very important questions. It could be asked on around for 1 marks or the 2 marks. So that is the code. That is the first code. So the by default it is a relative layout. Relative layout means all the widgets inside the relative layout would be of relatively position to each other. So So in the activity under activity XML file, we have to the basic structure is that we need a layout, whether it is a relative layout or the linear layout or the grid layout. In the linear layout, the buttons or the widgets could be arranged in linearly, whether it is vertically arranged or the horizontally arranged. Similarly, in the grid layout, all the widgets are arranged like a table in which we have rows and the columns. And for the relative layout, we have to arrange all the elements relatively to each other. And then here you can change among the design and the text view. So that is our first activity main underscore XML file. You see the layout, and then we have a hello world, so we have to add the text view. So text view is just like a label, that is similar to HTML label. So you can assume that is similar to the HTML label. So so let's understand that code first. So here there is a text view and this property. So these are called the properties: Android colon text, Android colon layout underscore width, Android colon layout underscore height. So all the properties could be written like this: first the Android and then the property name. So behind the scene there is a class also for the text view. So we have like the getter and the setter. So for this we have get text and the set text. So in case we want the text view to be accessed in the code, so we could use the getters and the setters for that text view. So what is written here? At the rate of string slash hello world. So it means we have a keyword hello world in a string file, and then this text would be set by that value of that key hello world. And let's see the what is relative layout. So here we have the property layout width, layout height, and this is a padding left, right, and top, bottom. Padding means how much gap you want from the left, right, and the top, bottom from your mobile screen for that relative layout. And similarly the layout width and the layout height, it means match parent, it means it is match the height and the width of the mobile application. And then we have to close the text view and we have to close the relative layout. So that is for the simple basic hello world application. We have just a simple text view that is similar to the label, nothing else. And that is the first main activity.java. So we need two things: XML file and the one activity Java file. So let's see the code inside the activity file. So we have it is a class, public class, main activity. It extends from some activity class. So that is the class provided by the Android app activity. So we have to import Android app activity here. So we have imported this, and then we have override a method, that is onCreate method. So there is a life cycle for the activity. So we will discuss this in this video later, but you have to understand, you have to at least override one method, that is a onCreate method. That is the first method that is called when the app runs. So as soon as the app runs, that method will be called by the Android operating system. So what will happen? It will pass a bundle. So bundle is by the name of saved instance. So it means if your application has any previous state that would be passed in that method, so accordingly you can whatever action you want, you can do that action. But here we have just passed. If we don't need to write any action based on the previous state, so we have to just pass that to the super class. So we have passed is super.onCreate saved instance, and then we have to write what is the layout of that application of that activity file. So its layout is activity underscore main. So how we can write? We have to set the content view r.layout.activity underscore main. So first we cover the XML file, then we cover the activity file. So when you run the application, you need the emulator. So emulator is a virtual device on your system. So before that you have to create a virtual device. So I will not covering that in much detail. So these kind of screens you have seen when you run. So you have to add one of the device, and then you have to run the application. You have to even downloaded the API level, so that will be automatically done. You have to just click the next. Then there is a AVD manager that is started. If you have the mobile phone, then you can also directly build your application on your mobile phones. In that case, the APK file, that is basically Android application package, would move directly to your mobile phone. So let's see what is APK file. That is Android. If you see here, it is an Android application package. It's basically a jar file or a zip file for Android application. So that question would be asked in 1 marks or 2 marks. What is APK file? So APK file is a zip file or a jar file that would be needed to run an application. So what the content of this file? So it means if you have a APK file and you can easily run that application, you can easily install the application on your Android device. So here is the APK file. So we have the Java file. So Java file is converted into bytecode. Then we have some libraries and some resources that put together inside a file, and that we call the APK file. So when we run the app, you would see the logs here, and this is our first app. So when you click the icon, you will see the hello world. So that is our first application. So what will happen behind the scene? The device on which we have the operating system, Android operating system, it will calls the activity dot java file. Then the activity calls the layout. Then the layout return to the activity, and then activity returns to the device. So that is the first project, that we create a simple login hello world page. The only thing left in this is the string.xml file. So now let's see what is the string.xml file, how it looks like. So that is the string.xml file. So if you see here, the text view that we have declared, we have accessed it using @string/hello world. You see here, so Android text @string/hello world. So here hello underscore world is a key, and that is defined under the string.xml file. So that is our string.xml file. So you see hello underscore world. So here the value of that key is hello world exclamation mark. So when you run your application, you have seen that the value would be printed on the screen. So I will show this. So here you can see this one, hello world exclamation. So if you want to change the value of any key throughout the application, you just need to change in string.xml file. You don't need to change the values in many places. So that's the beauty of that string.xml file. That's all for the first chapter. Let's move to the again to our slide. So we will cover all these things in how to create a first project using the head first. So you have seen all these things, and we have seen the properties ID, layout width, layout height, and now let's see the platform and architecture layers. So either the question could be asked, what is the platform, what is the architecture, or what are the layers in the Android operating system. So if you see, I have already mentioned you that we have the Linux kernel is a core part of that operating system. So if you see here, so we need the Linux kernel because there are the drivers. So the so so these drivers are written in the in is based on the Linux kernel. So for the core services like the security and the memory management, we need these Linux kernel. And then uh, upon these, there are the libraries that is written in the C++, like WebKit, SQLite. So all these are the libraries that is written in the C++. And on the topmost layer, we have the application layer. So if you see your Android mobile phone, then you would see the contact numbers, the phone, and the browser that was installed, uh, already installed when you purchase your mobile. So these are the under the application layer. Then we have the application framework. So that is basically the some APIs that are used by the core application. So you can use this API to control what your apps look like and how it behaves. So these are the application framework where we have to work on this application framework. So we need to access the activity manager, window manager, package manager, telephony manager, resource manager. Then the underneath this there is Android runtime. So for the every application we have one Android runtime, and it will contains the core libraries that was written in the Java language. So you have to remember the lowest layer is the Linux kernel, and which is needed for the security and the memory management. Then we have need some libraries that is written in the C++, and we can access these libraries using the our application framework libraries. And on the top we have the applications that is by default available to the user, like the calendars and the maps. And we have the Android runtime for each and every application, and for this we have the core libraries that is already written in the Java languages. So that is the architecture or the platform or the layers of the Android operating system. So you have to remember this. That question will be asked in the 5 marks out of 25 marks. That will be the 25 marks question in your exam. So you have to draw this diagram, and then you have to write down all these steps. You don't need to look in other details, but just you have to remember these things. You have to carefully draw that diagram. You have to practice this at your home around 2-3 times. Then you are easily able to write this architecture in your examination very beautifully. Then what is Android SDK? So Android SDK is a software development kit that contains libraries and the tools you need to develop Android apps. So here you can see the application framework. So that is the Android SDK. That is a software development kit. So we need that. So what are the things that is inside the development kit? We have the SDK tools like for debugging and testing. Then we have sample apps. We have documentations, and so documentation is what are the APIs are doing. So we need the documentation, and we have the some Android support. We have some Google Play billing, and we have SDK platform. So all these things are combined together, and we call it the Android SDK. So it means when we install the Android Studio, so we have to also need the Android software development kit. So now understand the Android lifecycle, how the Android lifecycle works. So if you see, we have first create activity file. So in that activity file we have only defined the onCreate method, but that is the first method that the call when a app will launch. So if you know the applet or the xlets, so I hope you if you know the applets, so in that case there is a life cycle of applet. Similarly we have servlets, there is a life cycle of servlet. So similarly the Android activity has a life cycle. So what is the life cycle? In life cycle means that whenever whatever the activity is created, then it is moving to the running state, then it will move to the end state, that is the shutdown state. So the first state is activity launched, then running, and then activity shutdown. So in between that there are multiple methods, and the activity have to call these methods to take the transition from the one state to the another state. So what are the state and what are the methods? So the first method is the onCreate method. As soon as the activity launches, it will call the onCreate method, then the onStart method, and then onResume. So when the onResume method call, the activity would be appear to the user and the activity is running. And if some other activity comes into the foreground, so in that case the onPause method comes into the picture. So it means that the onPause method would be called. So like we can say the example, like we have already, the application is running and some call is coming on your mobile. So in that case the call application covers your activity, so your activity is into the foreground and it will call the onPause method. So it means that your activity have to store some state at that moment. So before moving to the call, it will call the onPause method, and in that onPause method we have to write that code that is for saving the some state. And if the user returns to the activity again, then it will call the onResume method, and in this similar fashion the activity is running by onResume and onPause methods. And if the activity is no longer visible to the user, so sometimes we have move to the other application or the close that application, so in that case the onStop method would be called, and there is one more method onDestroy. So the activity is finishing or the being destroyed by the system. So sometimes we destroy the application by ourselves, or sometimes the system will destroy. So in that case the onDestroy method will call. So that is the end of the activity, that is the activity shutdown. So there is a one more way. So when the onStop is called but the onDestroy is not called, so in that case user could again start that activity by using the onRestart method. And similarly we have onStop method. So apps with higher priorities need memory. So in that case app process killed, so user navigate to onCreate. So if the Android kill the app, so in that case we have to move the onCreate method. So let's see. So that is the only calls once throughout the life cycle of the entire activity. So why we use this? It might bind data to the list and initiate some class scope variables. So we have to initiate some list or some class level variables. So we will do that part in the onCreate method. Then we have save instance. So I have already covered the save instance. So we have to save the previous state. And the onStart method, when the activity is visible to the user. So as the app prepares for the activity to enter the foreground and becomes interactive. OnResume, when the activity enters the resume state, it comes to the foreground and then the system invokes the onResume callback. Similarly, I have already covered the onPause and the onStop. When your activity is no longer visible to the user, it has entered to the stopped state. And then we have already covered the onDestroy method. So that we have taken that activity lifecycle from the internet, Android from the website developer.android.com. So that is a part 1 video. So friends, I hope you enjoy that part 1. Thank you very much.